So a few days ago, we checked out the new Sennheiser HD350BTs. But today, we're going to check out the upgraded Sennheiser HD450BTs. Now, the main difference between these two headphones is that the 450BTs have active noise cancellation. But the HD450BTs are also replacing the Sennheiser 4.50 BTNCs. So let's see if it's worth upgrading to the HD450BTs, whether because you already have the 4.50 BTNCs, or because you're thinking about going with the 350BTs just because you want to save a little bit of money. Now, the HD 350BTs retail for $120, whereas the HD 450BTs retail for $200, $20 more than what the HD 4.50 BTNCs used to retail for when they first came out. Now, the HD 450BTs aren't for everyone, but they are a good option to consider if you like a neutral sound signature. So if you want to pick these headphones up, they'll be linked down below. Now, first, let's talk about what comes included with these headphones. Just like the 4.50 BTNCs, the HD 450BTs come included with a soft shell carrying case. Now, this is something worth pointing out because the 350BTs don't come included with a carrying case. Now, even though these headphones are very durable, I still recommend that you invest in a hard shell carrying case if you plan on commuting a lot with these headphones. But more importantly, the HD 450BTs also come included with an audio cable, because unlike the HD 350BTs, the 450BTs actually have an audio jack. Now, I'm fully aware that less and less phones these days have audio jacks, but personally, I feel that if you're paying upwards of $100 for any pair of headphones, then they should come included with an audio jack. If you're a content creator, you still want to be able to plug in and monitor your audio if you're working on a project. And even if you're just an average user, you still want to be able to do something as simple as plugging your headphones in to watch an in-flight movie when you're on an airplane. But finally, the 450BTs also come included with a USB-C to USB-A cable, because these headphones have been upgraded to a USB-C port. A major upgrade from the 4.50 BTNCs, which these headphones are replacing. But just as a heads up, unlike the Momentum 3s, which also have a USB-C port, which you can also use as a wired connection, the USB-C port on the HD 450BTs is strictly used for charging. So if you want to use a wired connection with these headphones, then you gotta use the audio jack. Now, when it comes to the overall build quality and design of these headphones, the 450BTs have the same design and build quality as the 4.50 BTNCs and the 350BTs, which isn't a bad thing at all because all of these headphones have exceptional build quality for their price point. The only thing I miss on the 450BT from the 4.50 BTNCs are the silver accents. Now, even though these headphones are mostly made out of plastic, it's the hard, dense type of plastic that can really take a beating. Whenever you extend their headband, there's a very satisfying click to it, and the underside of the headband is lined with silicone, albeit with very little padding. But more importantly, these headphones stay relatively silent whenever you flex their headband or rotate their ear cups, something that unfortunately can't be said about their current direct competitors, the Sony Watcha 700N. Now, when it comes to fit, the HD 450BTs have a snug fit just like the HD 350BTs and the 4.50 BTNCs. Now, these headphones don't squeeze your head like the Beats Solo Pro do, and I do feel comfortable saying that these headphones are big head approved, because I can wear these headphones for a few hours on end. But if you like a looser fit, then I would maybe reconsider to be on the safe side. But if you have a smaller head, you'll be perfectly fine. But something that I really wish Sennheiser did better on these headphones are their earpads. Now, the cutout on the earpads on the HD 450BTs are just slightly larger than the outgoing 4.50 BTNCs, but just by a tiny bit. Literally, if you blink, you'll miss it. Now, the slightly extra room on the HD 450BTs does help when compared to the 4.50 BTNCs, but the earpads on the 450BTs still rest on my earlobes. So if I, someone who has average size ears that don't stick out a lot, find the earpads on the HD 450BTs to be cramped, then I can't recommend these headphones to someone who has larger ears or ears that stick out a lot. Sennheiser just really needs to redesign these earpads to be more spacious so that they can be more comfortable, and they should also reduce the amount of padding that comes in contact with your skin so that these earpads don't heat up as fast. But when it comes to tech specs, the 450BTs have been upgraded to a 30-hour battery life, up from the 25 hours found on the 4.50 BTNCs. And for me, I've been able to go a solid week in between charges with these headphones. Now, when it comes to Bluetooth connectivity, these headphones are rocking Bluetooth 5.0, but more importantly, they can be connected to two devices at the same time, so you can easily hot swap from your phone to your computer. But just like the 350BTs, the 450BTs don't have NFC, like the outgoing 4.50 BTNCs. Personally, I don't really care, but I thought I would still point it out for my Android users. But when it comes to audio codecs, these headphones have aptX low latency, aptX, and AAC support. And if you're an Android user, you're going to have a zero latency across the board whenever you're watching movies or videos with these headphones. But if you're an iPhone user, there is a noticeable amount of latency whenever you're watching YouTube videos. Other apps like Netflix and Disney Plus are fine, but I just really hope that they fix the latency issue with these headphones whenever you're watching YouTube videos through a software update, because this is the same problem with the HD 350BTs. But when it comes to listening to music with these headphones, the HD 450BTs sound identical to the HD 350BTs. Like I mentioned earlier, the HD 450BTs are a good pair of neutral sounding headphones to consider. Mids and vocals on these headphones are front and center, and the bass on these headphones only comes in when it has to. But when it does come in, the bass on the HD 450BTs is purely the audible kind, so you're not actually going to feel the bass on these headphones thumping against your head like, let's say, the Skullcandy Venue or the Sony Watch 700N. Personally, I like how these headphones sound, but I know some people actively look for headphones that are going to physically rattle your head. Now, these headphones connect to Sennheiser's app, and from there, you can adjust the EQ on these headphones. But even if you were to raise the bass on these headphones all the way up, you're still not going to physically feel anything. So if you like head-thumping bass on your headphones, then these aren't for you. And personally, I think these headphones sound best with their stock EQ. Now, with all that being said, I did notice one crucial difference between the HD 450BT and the outgoing 4.50 BTNCs, and that's the highs. The highs on the HD 450BT don't distort at higher volumes like the high on the outgoing 4.50 BTNC. Now, the distortion on the outgoing 4.50 BTNCs isn't huge, but I did notice the highs on the HD 450BTs managed to stay crisper. But everything else like bass, soundstage, and instrument separation on the HD 450BTs is identical to the outgoing 4.50 BTNCs. Now, when it comes to the media controls on these headphones, they're basically identical to the 4.50 BTNCs. You've got a dedicated rocker that you use to adjust the volume on these headphones, and then there's a switch that you can use to skip through your music. The only major difference here is that Sennheiser's newer headphones now have a dedicated voice assistant button so that you can more quickly activate Siri or Google Assistant straight from your headphones. But now let's talk about the active noise cancellation on these headphones, cause there have been some changes from the 4.50 BTNCs, for better or worse depending on your point of view. Overall, yes, the outgoing 4.50 BTNCs block out a little more noise than the new HD 450BTs, but it's not a huge performance difference, and unless you were to use these headphones back to back, you wouldn't notice the difference at all. And besides, the HD 450BTs are still blocking out a sufficient amount of noise for a pair of entry-level ANC headphones. But so that you can see for yourself, we're going to jump into an ANC test. Now, first off, I included the Sony 1000 XM3s in this ANC test merely as a reference point. The HD450BT and Sony 1000 XM3s are in two completely different leagues. But like you may have just seen, the outgoing 4.50 BTNCs managed to block out a little more noise across the board than the HD450BTs. But the major difference here is that the HD450BTs have basically zero cabin pressure, whereas the 4.50 BTNCs do have some noticeable cabin pressure. Whenever I wear the HD450BTs, I don't feel any nausea or slight discomfort like I do with the 4.50 BTNCs. And the fact that the HD450BTs managed to block out almost as much noise as the 4.50 BTNCs with zero cabin pressure is a win in my book. Because zero cabin pressure on your ANC headphones means that they're a little more comfortable to wear. So overall, the HD450BTs do have improved active noise cancellation over the 4.50 BTNCs. Now, don't expect the HD450BTs to block out the world like a pair of premium ANC headphones, but the ANC on these headphones is useful in, like, let's say, a bus or in a chatty office. And another thing that has been improved on the HD450BTs is the microphone, because the microphone on the 4.50 BTNCs sounds very robotic. Now, no, the microphone on the HD450BT isn't the best, but it also isn't the worst. There's a little bit of static in the background and my voice might sound a little shallow, but it is usable in my opinion. But overall, the HD450BTs is an incremental upgrade over the 4.50 BTNCs. You don't have to rush out on an upgrade, but I would recommend the HD450BTs over the 4.50 BTNCs. The new HD450BTs now charge via a USB-C port, which is a must here on out. They sound slightly better, mainly because of the crisper highs. They have that dedicated voice assistant button, which I think is nice to have, especially since voice assistants are really starting to take off. Their microphone sounds better, but more importantly, the ANC on these headphones have essentially zero cabin pressure, which is a huge deal. Now, even though the earpads on the HD450BTs are slightly more spacious than the ones found on the 4.50 BTNCs, I still wish they were more spacious and that they had less padding coming in contact with your skin to help prevent these earpads from heating up so much. But when it comes to choosing between the 350s and 450s, I'm definitely going with the 450s, not just because of the active noise cancellation, but also because of the audio jack. If you made it this far, I guess you enjoyed the video, so hit that like button and get subscribed. It helps out more than you realize. If you want to pick any of the products up mentioned in this video, those will be linked in the description down below, and you can also support the channel by checking out the merch store. But other than that, I'll catch you next time.